Hey all, welcome to Share Trek. This is Raj here, and friends, today I have many topics to talk about, but I was a bit lazy and I started recording pretty late. So probably it's just going to be this video for today, and I'm going to talk to you about the earnings result from Intellia. Many of our viewers follow Intellia closely, just like they do with Ginkgo Bioworks and CRISPR Therapeutics. So I know you're waiting for this video. And I'm going to keep it simple and short, as much short as possible. In this video, we're going to talk about the latest results of Intellia. I'll also talk about their therapies, if there are any highlights. I'll also look at their financials, the cash runway, and then I'll give my opinion on what I think is going to happen with the Intellia price in the near term up to Q3. So that's the general plan, and that's the format of this presentation. But before we proceed, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, because we are very close to 5,000 subscribers, and your help in getting us there is much appreciated. With that said, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. Intellia gained 1.3% on the back of its earnings released on the 3rd of August. In the earnings report, they reported an EPS of minus 1.4 against an estimate of minus 1.32, which was a miss. However, on the revenue side, they came in at 12.55% above expectation at 13.59 million against an estimate of around 12.079 million. So it's a slight improvement over the expectation. And friends, as I mentioned before, earnings estimate for these companies is very difficult given that they do not have a monetized therapy. So I would not focus on this aspect as much. Instead, for these companies, we need to look at their cash burn and the cash runway that they have and the cash balance that they have got in hand. So cash and cash equivalents and marketable securities were at 1.1 billion as of June 30, 2023, compared to $1.3 billion as of December 31, 2022. The decrease was driven by cash used to fund operations of approximately 227.3 million. The decrease was offset in part by 24.6 million of interest income and 8 million of reimbursement from collaborators. So that 8 million reimbursement from collaborators is a good positive out there. 1.5 million of net equity proceeds from companies at the market program, and 3.3 million in proceeds from employee-based stock plans. So I would say that considering the market cap of the company, 1.5 million is not that big a dilution, but definitely there has been a little bit of equity dilution out here. Assuming the current cash burn being steady, the cash runway should last them somewhere between 2.5 to 3 years at the most, best case scenario. And that is good enough at this point of time, because many of their milestones are in 2024. So I think I'm comfortable with the cash runway that they have. And here is a rundown of what the company had to say about their ongoing therapies. And they said that they completed identification of all patients for the phase 2 study of Intellia 2002 for treatment of HAE. And they have already got plans to initiate a global pivotal project, which is phase 3 study of NTLA 2002 as early as Q3 2024. Subsequent to regulatory feedback. So again, this major milestone is not in this year, but in the next year, and that too in Q3, so it's far off. And they said they're on track to submit IND application in September for a global pivotal study of NTLA 2001 for the treatment of ATTR amyloidosis. And IND is basically investigational new drug. And once they get the IND, then they can go into phase 1. So they are anticipating this by year end 2023 that they would be able to initiate the study, and subject to regulatory feedback, of course. And they have plans to present additional clinical data in 2023 from their ongoing Intellia 2001 first in human study by year end. So nothing is happening immediately in this quarter or next quarter. We are talking about the fourth quarter at the earliest. And they also expect to submit clinical trial application or CTA by year end for NTLA 3001, Intellia's first in vivo insertion candidate in development for the treatment of alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, that is AATD, associated lung disease. So things are not immediately going to be a catalyst, but they are coming very soon. And given the strong cash balance of this company, so it's going to be a waiting game for most investors. I don't see any major catalyst, at least this year. Probably in the fourth quarter, we may have some positive catalyst, but nothing that's going to blow the roof. And here is an analysis of their financial by comparing Q1 and Q2 of 2023. If you look at this table, you will see that their cash position has decreased by minus 0.2 billion. Collaboration revenue has gone down by minus 0.4 million. R&D expenses have gone up by 25.1 million. I'm never unhappy if the R&D expenses go up. That shows that they have been working for the most part, and they have some milestone to show for it. General and administrative expenses went up 8.5 million. That's something I would be concerned about. And net loss has gone down 23.0 million. The fact that the net loss has gone down is something that is giving a slight bit of bullishness, and that's what we see as a 1.3% increase in the share price post results. And I don't think their buoyancy is going to last for long. It's going to peter off until we come to Q3, unless there are some positive catalysts. I'll speak more about that in my conclusion. Now let's take a look at Intellia price chart. So here we are in our TradingView platform looking at the Intellia price chart. And friends, each of these candles is a one-day candle. And as you can see out here, we have Intellia being range bound, and it has mostly stayed below this 43.64 line of resistance for most part, and it has not been able to stay above that except for going up in sporadic fashion. And the support has been very strong around 34.70. It hasn't gone below that very often, just a few forays here and there for a couple of days. But all the way from, let us say, 6th of December onwards, this has been the range-bound trend for this stock. And I think that the gain that you are seeing here, these two, I don't think we are going to be able to break through 42.11. At the most, we may touch a peak of around 46.39 before we wind up Q3. So that's the way I look at this. And you can see that the momentum was below average, and it's just started to pick up based on the catalyst that it got here because of the earnings. And again, as I said, it's the reduction in the loss, that's net loss, that's reflecting in a little bit of strength in the price. I'm happy to see that Intellia gained more than 1% on earnings report, but I do not think that this momentum will last because we have increased expenses. And I do not see any BLA or NDA this year, and it's beyond 2024. So there is no major catalyst that can give it a bump. We also have the FDA asking Intellia for additional preclinical data on the inclusion of female patients of childbearing potential. And I think that's mainly because they are concerned about germline edits, whether the edits done to the parent will pass on to the offspring. I think we had another company, I suspect it was Verve, which was requested to provide similar information. So yeah, I think it was Verve. They were asked to provide information on germline edits and whether the edits will be passed on to the offspring, and they cleared it off. So I think Intellia also should not have much of a problem providing the proof, but it's just that it's going to be additional animal test, and they will have to revise their plans for the 55% trial, and it means extra cost, extra money, and a little bit of delay, but nothing unsurmountable. But that's again going to be a bit of a negative catalyst for the short term. But in the long term, I think everything should be fine. There'll be a positive catalyst when they come up with an announcement saying that they have satisfied the FDA query and they are proceeding. That's when you'll have a positive catalyst. And therefore, I was surprised to see a little bit of positive. I'm happy that Intellia got a bit positive, but There is nothing to underpin the positivity in the longer term, or at least until Q3. So when you look at analysts, we have divergent headlines on valuation for Intellia. Barclays responded to the earnings report by adjusting Intellia Therapeutics price target to $90 from $148, while still retaining an overweight rating, while Citigroup maintained a neutral rating on the company but adjusted the price target from $44 to $40. And friends, the current market price for Intellia is 39.61. So you can see even professional analysts are all having wild guesses out here. So I don't know what's going to happen to Intellia price going forward. All I know is that there is nothing exciting happening out here at this point of time. Anything exciting remotely exciting could happen probably in the fourth quarter of 2023 and probably in the third quarter of 2024. So nothing much to be excited about here and nothing much to be worried about. It's just the same old boring, and boring is good in this market. So with that said, now I come to my question for this video. Just use yes or no in the comment section to answer my question. Do you think Intellia will remain weak and range bound until Q3 results? So that's all for now, my friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.